Okay, so today is an absolutely beautiful day outside, so I've decided to film this vlog outside. So if you hear a little bit of chicken clucking or dog barking, those are my babies, but I am going to enjoy the day outside with them today. But I'm going to go over my most recent blog. It's an advice blog about what husbands can do. So this one is really, I don't know, I've seen reels, TikTok videos, Vines, whatever they are, of one that specifically stands out is a woman. She comes and she's like, have you ever worked on a group project and someone comes and contributes the markers and then you do all of the work and they sign their name on the project and they say, look, we made this or whatever, but it's really you did all the work, they just contributed the markers. Well, that's what pregnancy is like. You obviously can't get pregnant without your husband, but the woman does all of the work. So, this is kind of to give advice on how husbands can still help and still be a part of the pregnancy and postpartum period, even if their wives are the ones that are going through all the body and hormone changes and everything. So this is just advice for husbands on how you can best help your spouses. We're gonna start off with during pregnancy. So every woman reacts differently to pregnancy. Obviously, there's no technical official, oh, this is a surprise or an accident. You know how pregnancy happens. But there could be mixed emotions around pregnancy. Some women want it more than others. Some it's planned versus unplanned, not necessarily accident. But every woman can react differently then to the news. Some women are very excited and some are anxious, afraid, whatever. But regardless of how a woman reacts or if it was planned or not, some women can go through a mourning phase because she'll realize that she's never going to be the same. Her body is never going to be the same. Her life is never going to be the same because pregnancy changes a woman so very much. And so in that time frame, it's really important for a husband to be there for their wives and support and encourage them. And for the wives specifically, it's okay to mourn for a short time. You don't want to dwell on that, but it's okay to mourn briefly because your world is changing. That is something that's happening. So not only does every woman react differently emotionally, but every woman also reacts differently hormonally, and like your bodies can react differently. Some women have horrible morning sickness for their first trimester. Some women have it their whole pregnancy. Some women get very fatigued. Some women get a plethora of energy. There's the pregnancy glow. All these different types of things. Some have never felt better. Sometimes pregnancy cures issues that you've had while not pregnant. But during this time, husbands can help pick up the slack. So if a woman is getting horrible food aversions or terrible morning sickness, then don't necessarily expect her to still cook. You can cook for yourself and offer to cook her a meal that she can eat, say like noodles with just butter or something like that, something that she will be able to get down so that she's still getting nutrients. But just picking up chores around the house in general, and helping with things so that it's not even more tiring for the wife. If the woman isn't suffering from food aversions or morning sickness or anything like that, the husband can still offer to cook and help with the cleaning and help with the chores so that the mom doesn't get fatigued as easily. So it's still important to be able to help and offer to help, especially because that help will be needed postpartum too. So it's important to learn that before the baby gets there, instead of being absolutely shocked at all you have to do once the baby arrives and mom is physically unable to do any of it. Another thing while pregnant that is very important for husbands, if possible, if work permits, to be able to go to prenatal appointments with the mom. And not necessarily just the ones that have ultrasounds, but all of them. And I encourage this for a few reasons. First off, it's your baby too. So you should want to be there to learn about your baby and make sure your baby's okay and healthy. And be excited to see your baby if you have an ultrasound, or hear baby's heartbeat if you're using Doppler to listen to the heartbeat. But not only that, but you should care for mom not to be alone. Let's say, God forbid, there's some bad news that mom has to hear at the doctor's office. She shouldn't have to hear that alone. You should be able to be there and hear it with her, so then she doesn't have to not only be the one to give you the news, but then she doesn't have to sit on the news until she can tell you. Or, God willing, it's good news. Then you guys can rejoice in that news together and be excited together. And just be there along with her. It's also a phenomenal opportunity for you guys to learn together, because education is so important, and so it can help the husbands understand what a wife is going through in pregnancy and understand why she's dealing with some of what she's dealing with, and just help educate you as to what's going on and why, and just figure it all out. Speaking of education, in order to further education, husbands can offer to go to childbirth classes or accept going to childbirth classes with the wife. I am a childbirth educator, so I am a little biased about this maybe, but I do believe it is very important for all new parents to go to childbirth education classes, so that you can learn about, for husbands to learn about what your wife is going through in pregnancy and what's to be expected for labor and delivery, and even postpartum. While it differs for everyone, like I said before, it is really important to understand what could happen, because education is key. Knowledge is key. It is very important. So being able to have a basis of knowledge is very important. But during pregnancy, husbands just try helping out with different tasks around the house and chores and stuff like that, and learn what the woman is going through, so that, let's say she's having morning sickness, learn how to help her so that she doesn't have to feel alone in it, and don't belittle her, say anything of like, oh, you're still sick or anything like that. Just encourage mom, support her, be there for her. Above all else, just support is so very important during this time. So just support mom, be there for her. Know that she can be there so that she can lean on you during this time. Okay, now we're gonna dive into what husbands can do for support during labor. So first and foremost, be present. Be present during labor. That includes, but is not limited to, not being on your phone or tablet or watching TV or reading a book. Being there with mom. If she can't do any of that, then neither should you. And I know there's some hot takes on this as to whether or not it's okay for husbands to do whatever they want, but I personally don't believe so. I believe that if your wife is enduring all this pain to bring your child into the world, then you should be by her side that entire time, which includes not leaving the hospital to go get food. While I do think that husbands should be able to eat while the wife is in labor, I mean, he could step outside and eat, or do it in between contractions, just not right in front of the mom's face or anything. But I do believe that it's okay for a husband to eat during labor, but don't leave to go get food. Either bring food with you, or ask the hospital staff and say, hey, can you bring me a sandwich? I'm getting really hungry. I know personally, My husband's no help when he's hungry. He cannot do anything if he's hungry. He gets very hangry, just doesn't think fully. So I'm sure there are other husbands like that. It's just important for them to eat. And I mean, you guys can talk about prenatally too, whether or not the mom is comfortable eating, because I do believe it is important for mom to eat during labor as well. That's a hot take though. We can get into that in another blog. But yeah, so just a very big importance is don't leave her. Just be there with her, support her through it all. Just encourage her. So while we just covered a big don't for labor, I'm going to get into some do's. So if you are having a hospital birth, while the staff can be very helpful, they're not with the mom the whole time. They have other mothers to take care of. They have other tasks to get done. So husbands really need to take charge. And some of the ways they can take charge do include having some prenatal prep. So one main thing that husbands can do with moms during labor is help with position changes. So position changes can help progress labor. So it's important to change positions frequently enough so that you're not going to stall in the one position. So husbands can set a timer for every 15 to 30 minutes to help mom change position when the timer goes off. So this is something that involves the prenatal prep, as I said. And so in order to husband to do this and to do it best, I mean, you could always look up position changes and try to memorize them. But what I really recommend is printing out a few pictures, including like a peanut ball while laying down, birthing ball, standing up positions, walking around positions that mom can be leaning on you for, just a bunch of different positions, and print them out and bring them with you so that in the moment you don't get all flustered and say, oh, I don't remember any positions, because that can be very stressful. So just print them out, bring them with you. It alleviates some stress, and to make sure that there's a variety. In addition to position changes, you can aid in between contractions and during contractions. So in between contractions, you can give mom a massage, something like massage her hands, her wrists, her arms, her feet, ankles, legs, whatever, back, shoulders, anything like that. If mom likes massages, then you can ask her where she would like one. But that could be really helpful for mom. During contractions, counter pressure is absolutely huge. Being able to do like a double hip squeeze. If you have someone else with you, then working on tag teaming and working on that can be very, very helpful, because you can get more pressure. And that can just alleviate some of the pressure on mom's back during contractions. And counter pressure, as someone that has applied counter pressure before, and the double hip squeeze can be tiring, and so can massages. Your hands can get tired very quickly. I encourage you to not complain or stop because you're tired. Don't say, oh, my arms are tired, I can't do it anymore, or my hands are tired. Suck it up, buttercup, and keep applying the pressure and keep massaging, and realizing how much that you are helping your wife during labor. Another thing that could be used during contractions is a TENS unit. Husbands, you can look into that information before labor to get proper information on how to get that. There are some insurances that cover it. The Mommy Care Kit, which is in my resources on my website, there's a link for that. That is covered by most insurances, and it does include a TENS kit. So just doing research on how to use that before labor starts, like prenatally, how to use that and figuring that out and bringing that with you can be really, really beneficial during labor and delivery, or labor specifically, not necessarily delivery. Another thing could be hot and cold packs to be applied. So just going and cooling off a rag or something like that to apply to forehead, neck, back, anywhere that mom wants it. If mom wants something heated up, making sure you're able to get that. Another really big thing could be early on in labor, when the contractions aren't as bad, just help distract mom during those contractions, to help take her mind off what she is going through. As contractions in labor progress, distraction isn't really beneficial anymore, but helping mom focus, helping mom hone in on what she's feeling and focus on breathing properly, and just aid in that and focus on that. Another really, really big thing is offering food, water, and ice. Like I said before, I personally believe women should be able to eat during labor. So if you offer that, you can offer that in between contractions. You can offer that while during position change. Just making sure to offer without having mom to ask for it. Because then she won't be extremely thirsty or hungry. Just making sure to offer for those, but don't be a pest and offer every minute or two, every 5, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. You can offer, just make sure mom's okay. And in order for mom to avoid being disturbed during contractions, especially as labor is progressing and she no longer wants to be distracted, husband should do most of the communication with the hospital staff. So this is another one that can involve some prenatal prep. I believe that husband and wife should sit down and come up with a birth plan before having to go to the hospital. If a doula is present, she'll probably do this work for you guys, but if not, it is still very important to sit down and have a discussion about what are wants, needs, fears, desires, concerns during labor. So obviously this is a plan, and plans can always change, but it gives a good idea for what mom wants, so that when the hospital staff comes in and asks a question, the husband can answer for her without just answering for her and saying, oh yeah, no, that's fine. He can tell the hospital staff, no, this is what she wants. And so bring that plan with you, share it with the hospital staff. It can just be a good way to not disturb the mom while she is in labor, but also making sure that she gets what she wants and desires and everything. So this does allow for both parties to voice their concerns, their fears, their wants, while it not being in a stressful situation. So you're not having to ask or disturb mom. And this gives husbands a really great opportunity to not only understand, hear what your wife wants, but understand it, and so that you can encourage it and support her in those decisions. Just really support is a really, really big thing. So just, it helps you be able to support her better. Labor is, once again, different for every woman. Some have very quick labors and some have very, very long labors. So for those that have long labors, husbands, encourage your wives. Remind them of the little bundle of joys that they will be able to meet soon. And encourage them how strong they are to be able to bring this life into the world. That for the last 9 months they've created this life, and now they get to meet the baby, and just support her and be present for her. Now we're going to move on to during delivery. So once again, make sure to be present. If you are someone that gets queasy very easily, don't like blood, don't like bodily fluids, don't make a scene. Try just grabbing a chair, so that if you think you'll pass out, then you have a chair, so you don't have to distract any hospital staff away from mom. So grab a chair to sit next to mom. Don't go off in the couch corner, in the corner. Grab a chair and sit next to mom so that you can still be by mom. Drink some water, have some peppermint nearby if you think you're gonna throw up, but do not leave mom's side. And if you're grossed out by the bodily fluids, don't make a scene over it. Don't say, oh my gosh, that's so gross. Mom has just endured hours of labor to bring this baby into the world. So don't distract the focus away from her onto you. Make sure to be there for mom. Make sure to support her still. Just continue to encourage mom. Labor can last a while, but so can the pushing phase. So just during the pushing phase, encourage mom. Like I said, encourage her that she's about to meet her little bundle of joy. And some things that can involve dad a little bit more during the delivery process is see if you can catch the baby. If you're having a hospital birth, ask the hospital staff if you can be the one to catch the baby. Some might say no, but it's always a no unless you ask. So ask the hospital staff, or cut the umbilical cord when it comes time to cut for that. But just those are some options to involve dad a little bit more other than just supporting the wife, which I don't say just to take away, because that is extremely important to support your wife, but it still gets you involved a little bit more. Okay, and then during postpartum, ways to support. So there are more ways to support because your little baby has been born, so you can aid with the baby now. But postpartum is different for every woman. So we're going to go over some differences about how husband can assist mom if she chooses to breastfeed, bottle feed, pumped milk, or formula feed. So regardless, we're going to go over some things that the husbands can do regardless of how baby is fed, which include, regardless of how baby is fed, let mom rest in bed for as long as possible. Don't force her to get up. If she wants to stay in bed, that's fine. She needs rest. That was a lot that her body just endured. So help her to the bathroom if needed. Help do stuff for her, but let her rest. During the first few days or weeks, mom should be getting as much rest as possible. So if baby sleeps in a different room, if you have baby in a nursery, right away, when you hear baby cry, you can bring baby to mom, let mom feed the baby, and then bring baby back. But try to make sure that mom doesn't have to get up necessarily, which includes changing dirty diapers. If baby needs to be changed, take baby away, change baby, and bring baby back. You can also bring her food and water in bed, so that she doesn't have to get up. If she wants to get up, that's one thing, but if she's really struggling with her recovery, then let her stay in bed. Another thing is letting mom recover doesn't necessarily just mean laying in bed for all hours of the day. You can help aid in bonding at this time. So laying in bed, I am someone that if I see a chore, I need to do it. So that is part of the recovery as well I know I'm not the only woman like that. So letting mom rest in bed can help so that she doesn't see, oh, there are dishes that need to be done, let me do them, so that she has more time for her body to recover. But with that being said, you should be helping with the chores still. Like I said, during pregnancy, you got to learn that during pregnancy, that so that postpartum it's not like, oh my, what am I doing now? But continue to help with the chores. Do the dishes. Hi puppy, he's coming to say hi. Don't let the dishes pile up until mom is able to do them. Do the dishes, clean the bathroom, vacuum, run errands, do chores so that they don't pile up until mom is able to. Clean the house, just anything that mom does on a regular basis, try to help out with that. Like I said, run errands. This can include grocery shopping, picking up things for the baby, or regular shopping. If mom wants to come with you, help her. Make sure she's able to. Hi, puppy. Are you going to come and join the podcast again? Say hi. There's a puppy. But yeah, just make sure mom is comfortable. Make sure that you're helping her in those situations. Pick up the car seat carrier so mom doesn't have to lift all that weight. Lifting the weight of the baby is okay, but lifting the carrier, that can be a little tougher. So just aid in that. Now we're going to get into some differences between how baby is fed. So if baby is formula fed, husbands, you can mix up some of the formula and bring it to the mom if mom wants to feed the baby. Or you can use this as a great time to bond with the baby. You can do some skin to skin with the baby, and just use it as a bonding experience. You can also do that if baby is fed pumped milk, so you can prepare that bottle and use that as bonding, or once again bring it to mom. Once you are done feeding, or once she is done feeding, you can make sure to clean the bottles properly. Make sure that you don't just put them in the sink, but clean them, make sure that they're cleaned. And if mom pumps, you can offer to clean the pumping supplies, because shocker, they need to be cleaned. If baby is breastfed, that limits the ways you're able to help with feeding, but there's still plenty that dads can do during this time. If mom is having trouble positioning the baby or getting baby to latch, help her with pillows, make sure she's comfortable, make sure she's able to hold baby properly. Hold baby's head for her so that her arms can relax. Once again, with the food and water, bring food and water to mom. Breastfeeding takes a lot of energy, so she's going to get hungry and she's going to get thirsty. So make sure that you bring food and water to mom so that she doesn't have to worry about being hungry or thirsty and not being able to get up and get it. Nor does she have to worry about getting it after, like getting up and getting out of bed afterwards, or worrying about any of that. No matter what, no matter how hard she has struggled to breastfeed, do not suggest she stop breastfeeding though. Offer to help her with position changes, or like trying different positions for breastfeeding. Or try to contact an IBCLC, so a board certified lactation consultant, or breastfeeding counselor or something like that, to aid in helping mom. But don't discourage her from breastfeeding. Absolutely do not discourage that. That is the number one reason that women stop breastfeeding. So support her, encourage her, and try to help her in any way you can. But as mentioned before, every woman experiences pregnancy and postpartum differently. Some women struggle with postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. So as a husband, look out for key signs of that a mom may be struggling. For the first few weeks, it may just be baby blues, but if it continues past 2 to 3 weeks, it could be getting into postpartum depression or anxiety. And just try to get her help that she needs if you notice signs of this, because you know your wife better than anyone else. So just try as hard as you can to help her and to look for these signs and get her the help that she needs as soon as possible. But regardless of what stage of pregnancy, labor, delivery, or postpartum that your wife is in, well, I hope that if she's in the labor or delivery portion, that you would not be watching this or listening to this, because you would be present. But regardless of what stage she's in, support her. Help her along the way, encourage her along the way, and be present. Learn about what she is going through, understand what she is going through, but just make sure to be there for her. Thank you very, very much for watching this, listening to this, however you are joining. I will make sure to link the Mommy Care Kit with the TENS unit, like I was saying before. It does include other stuff other than just the TENS unit. It comes with some compression socks. It comes with a plasma flow to help decrease your risk of varicose veins and other things like that. It comes with a postpartum binder and a belly band for while pregnant, and just a bunch of different items. But it's definitely something that you should check out because most insurance cover it also, and it can be very useful during pregnancy and postpartum. So I'll make sure to link that and get you all that information. But thank you very much for joining another blog. Thank you.